Hey, welcome to another episode of geekoutdoors.com. So if you spend any time on YouTube, then probably the first thing that actually catches your attention is the thumbnails. And when it comes to you being a content creator, the thumbnail is quite often the most important element that actually people look at in order for you to get their attention, get the clicks, and then of course, get the views. Now, as a content creator, you definitely want to experiment and test out as many different types of thumbnail designs, text as possible. Now, the current way that you do this on YouTube is you're actually going to have to go in here into your details, and then you're going to have to change your thumbnails. So if you wanted to test a thumbnail, this is actually a very manual process. However, there is a better way, and it's one that I highly recommend if you can do it, and that is to do some A/B split testing. So if you're not familiar with what this really comes from the whole world of marketing, and specifically in digital marketing, doing a lot of split testing is important. So in this case, the tool that I use to do this is TubeBuddy. And so whenever you install TubeBuddy, if you have a paid version, you could actually use this A/B test split tool. So if I go down here to website tools and then come to A/B test, then it'll come to something like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this A/B split test works and also the value that it provides for your channel. But before I get into this, I will say that once again, this is a paid feature. And so TubeBuddy provides a lot of great features just on the free version. But if you want something like A/B split testing, this is currently only available on the Legend product. So I just want to put that out there. And so let's go ahead and go to my A/B test tool. And as you could probably see here, I already have a number of tests running. So let me show you in general how to create an A/B test. So you go here and create A/B tests. And then what it's going to do is it's going to ask which video you want to try this test on. So in this case, you could look for a recent video, or you could search a video, or you could type in the video or put in a video ID. So in this case, I already have some videos that I actually want to test this out on. So I'm going to test it out on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and basically just copy the title. I could also take the ID as well, but I'm just going to copy and paste it and then see if we could find it right here. So it'll search for it, and there it is. And now you actually come to the A/B test that you can run. Now there's two main types of A/B tests. So the first test is the one that I recommend for most people, and that's basically testing out your thumbnail to see which one's going to get a higher CTR or click-through rate, and also many other factors as well, such as views, view time, and so forth. But then there's also one for metadata tests, which not only tests your thumbnail, but it also tests things like your title, tags, description, all in a single test. Now, even though you might be tempted to do this, it's really hard for you to tell what element actually made a difference. And so that's why I recommend doing the Ctr test just for a thumbnail, because it focuses on one thing. Now, obviously, you could always run this test if you want, but once again, whenever you're doing an A/B test, you typically change one or two things, so that way you can tell which one actually made the difference. And for most people, I highly recommend just doing one thing, because when you get to more than one element, it gets more and more difficult to really tell what makes a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this thumbnail Ctr test. And now you have two main options. You could run one with a set number of days, so you set how many days you want this to run, or you could run a test that has statistical significance. So statistical significance in this case is it's going to keep running the test until it finds one that is 95% or better of performance. So that way there is enough data and statistical significance to tell you this one is better. Now, I really don't prefer one or another. It really depends on what I want to do. But if you really just want to set it and forget it, then just go ahead and run the statistically significant one. So once it gets to 95%, then you'll be able to have a really good idea that this one is better. And if you do set a number of days, I highly recommend that you do a minimum of 30 days. That gives you enough time and enough data for you to collect. So I'm going to go ahead and run this one. And then it'll start the test at midnight Pacific time. So I'm going to continue. And here is your original thumbnail, and now you could choose the test thumbnail. Now, in this case, there's not going to be a big difference, at least for this thumbnail, because I want to see if just changing one thing makes a difference. And then in this case, the one thing is on my second thumbnail, there is a blue border around it. So very simple test. But once again, whenever you're doing A/B testing, and this really comes from the world of digital marketing and marketing in general, as I said, you normally change one element and then you see whether or not that one element, it actually makes a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and start the test. And just say yes and start the test. And it's creating the test. And it's successfully created. And it'll start running this at midnight. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and create another test, but this time it's going to be by the number of days. So I'm going to go ahead and look it up. So this is the one that I want to test it on, is freeze frame. And once again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to see whether or not a thumbnail with the border makes a difference. And I'm going to set this 30 days, select, and then continue. And then let's go ahead and choose the second thumbnail or the variation. So here's version 2. And this one has a yellow border. All right, go ahead and start the test. And it's created the test. And so now I have my two tests, one that is based upon statistical significance, and then another one based upon the number of days. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the valuable data that you actually get from split testing through TubeBuddy and see how this could really help you in determining which thumbnail is going to work better than the other. And for this video, I'm going to be looking at this one right here, where I actually did create a variation and I've already completed the test. And so in this case, you could actually see all the testing that you have, and it tells you whether or not it's in progress or complete. And this one I've already completed. So if I open this one up, it's going to give me a lot of really great data. So in this case, I ran this test from November 4th, 2021 till December 3rd, 2021. And based upon the data that TubeBuddy has, it's telling me they are 99.92% sure that the new variation, this one right here with a dark theme background, works better than the original with a lighter theme background. So in this case, my current video still has the old one, and TubeBuddy will give you the data and then give you the option to set it to the new one. Now, before I set the video to the variation, I'm going to go ahead and look at some of the data that it provides. So the first thing is click-through rate. So here is the original, had a 0.38% click-through rate, and then the variation, or the new one, had a 1.75% click-through rate, which is definitely higher. The same thing goes for impressions and clicks. As you can see here, here's the original, number of impressions and clicks. Here, the number of impressions is higher, and so are the number of clicks. It's actually significantly higher. And then also the watch time per impression. So all of these numbers here are very important. It shows you daily impression, total views, average watch, and you could even see where your traffic sources come from. Plus, it also gives you engagement statistics, things like likes, comments, dislikes, your subs gains, and so forth. And all of this data is very, very important. And in this case, since it is data, then you really can't argue with that because it has been tested. And in this case, it's telling me that my original thumbnail is not as good as my new thumbnail. And so I'm going to go ahead and set the video to variation. And hopefully this 355.41% increase will lead to better performance in the future. And so once I've done that, it will take a little bit of time. Let me see if it already changed it. It should change it here in TubeBuddy. Oh, there it is. It changed it right away, TubeBuddy, and then it changed it in my YouTube Studio Creator. So that is awesome. So as you can see there, you know, some real life performance, and also showing you results that actually matter. Because quite a bit of times whenever we as creators are creating our videos and thumbnails, we really grow attached to what we created. And a lot of times we actually go by how we feel versus actually looking at the data. And so in this case, the data clearly proved that whatever I thought originally was the best is not the best. And so now I have it set to one that is clearly the best. And then we'll look at another test. This one is still in progress. And this is what I really like about this, because whenever you're looking at this data, you don't have to wait till it's done. You could make a decision right now, stop it, and then set it to the variation. But stuff like this is really important, because in this case, I thought this thumbnail with a bright yellow background, really bolded letters, makes it stick out, and also the picture of the chair would perform better. But in this case, I guess people would like the picture of my face and maybe the elements here, it looks better, and you don't really see the chair. And so I was actually surprised, even more so than the other tests, because there are more elements that are different with this thumbnail, that this one didn't perform better. But the data clearly tells me that this one is better. And so right now, TubeBuddy is 91% confident that my original thumbnail is going to perform better than the variation. But I'm going to let it run until it gets to 95% confidence. And, if I decided, this data looks good enough where I'll go ahead and just keep my original, I could stop the test and that would be it. And so those are some real world benefits of doing A/B split testing. Now, you could actually do this manually if you want, but that would mean you would have to go in every day and change your thumbnail. And whereas something like this TubeBuddy tool allows you to do this automatically, allows you to run tests in, a variety of different ways. And at the same time, it allows you to run multiple tests concurrently. And most importantly, it actually has data that will actually show you which one is truly better. So you actually had any thoughts on this or any other ways in which you do testing on your YouTube thumbnails, be sure to do that in the comments area below. And if you did, of course, want to support my channel and get TubeBuddy, I will leave a link in the description area below. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a creative geek like me, and you want to get exclusive access to more content that I don't put out here publicly on my YouTube channel, then join my Gold Content Creators group, where you're going to get content like this and more for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators group.